my name is Candy Howdiggy. I am a Texas Lutheran University graduate, and the title of my presentation is The Effect of an Enrichment Device Stick Dog on a Male Border Collie. So this is a dog. They are cute and adorable and need to be protected at all costs. And now for some statistics. Roughly 6.5 million domestic animals are put into animal shelters every year. 3.3 million of these animals are dogs, and the other 3.2 million are cats. 1.5 million animals are also euthanized in shelters each year, while only 3.2 million sheltered animals are adopted annually. Within the last 50 years, there has been an alarming growth in the need for the storage and maintenance of pets. These animals are either surrendered by their owners, abandoned or lost pets, long-term strays or feral dogs, or individual abuse cases, or animals detained by local authorities or animal control. The United States currently has no national government organization that regulates shelters. However, many states have regulations within their jurisdiction and are often funded by donations or by tax support. Although shelters may have good intentions, they are often under-resourced and overcrowded, and this can lead to the poor welfare of animals. Due to the large amount of shelters being underfunded, workers only have enough resources to keep animals healthy, clean, and fed, and do not provide adequate social and environmental stimulation. This consequence of this is the manifestation of abnormal behaviors. Dogs are social and active creatures and require specific environments to maintain proper and physical and mental health. There's clearly limited environmental and social stimulation within animal shelters. Animals that are kept in cell-like and low-stimulus housing are far more likely to develop abnormal behaviors. Some examples of abnormal behaviors is aggression, fear, or shyness, or stereotypies, such as route tracing, self-injury, or hypertrophied behaviors. The length of time spent within an animal shelter also significantly influences behavior. Abnormal behaviors are considered unwanted by potential buyers or adopters and decrease the animal's chances of being adopted, causing them to stay more and more periods of time within shelters, further adding to their behavioral issues. It only takes 2 weeks to ruin an animal's chance of being adopted. So how can we fix this issue? Common methods to reducing stress and behavioral issues within captive animals is environmental enrichment. Environmental enrichment provides stimuli such as toys, furniture, or feeding enrichment devices that promote psychological and physiological well-being. Providing environmental enrichment overall increases cognitive ability, reduces abnormal behaviors, and alleviates stress. This relief in stress and reduction in abnormal behaviors can then increase the likelihood of an animal being adopted. Environmental enrichment is something that is widely used in zoos as a way to raise various animals to be healthy. The goals of environmental enrichment is to increase behavioral choices and encourage species appropriate behaviors in order to enhance welfare, reduce abnormal behavior, normalize temporal behavioral patterns, increase positive utilization of the environment, and increase the ability to cope with challenges in a more normal way. Enrichment involves changing animals' environment to provide more choices and opportunities to increase informational content. This can include special landscape and barriers to provide hiding areas, privacy, and foraging. Novel objects such as toys can also be used to promote creativity and exploration, and cognitive development can be enhanced through the use of puzzle feeders or mechanical apparatuses. So far, animate and inanimate forms of enrichment has been studied. This includes social interaction and training, auditory, visual, and olfactory stimulation, and toys or cage furniture. In the famous Rosenzweig study to investigate the effect of a stimulating environment of the brain growth of rats, researchers conducted a series of experiments over the course of 10 years. Rats were randomly assigned to one of 3 conditions: a standard cage, an enriched environment cage, and an impoverished cage. The standard cage consisted of an adequate amount of space containing food and water. The impoverished cage was a smaller size enclosure with food and water and contained only one isolated rat. The enrichment environment cage consisted of a larger enclosure with several rats who were provided with a variety of items to take and play, and it also contained food and water. The cerebral cortices of the rats in the enrichment cage were significantly larger and thicker compared to the rats of the impoverished cage. The cerebral cortex is an area of the brain that is responsible for learning, memory, and movement. It also responds to environmental experience as well as sensory inputs such as vision, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. Researchers also found that the synapses of the rats in the enriched cage were 50% larger and provided an increase in the chemical activity compared to the rats within the impoverished cage. So the purpose of our present case study is to assess the effect of originally made electronic device while using behavioral and biological measures. The participant is a purebred male border collie who's approximately 46 months old. And then we have a Medtronic device that was produced in partnership with Elevate Systems. Our behavior and biological measures will be assessed by using the health monitoring devices made specifically for dogs. So we have Whistle, Pet Pace, and Animo. And here's what they look like on the participant's collar. To assess behavior, the product Whistle and Animo are being used. Whistle is a device that attaches to the collar of a dog while tracking location and activity. Whistle monitors items such as activity, location, calories, distance, and sleep quality. Animo measures activity, calories, behavior, and also sleep quality. And it also measures behavior such as barking or scratching. To assess more biological measures, the product Pet Pace is being used. It monitors the subject's temperature, pulse, respiration, and heart rate variations, and overall health. These devices will measure the overall quality of health and track stress levels of the participant. And here's our electronic device. The device is a remote-controlled treat dispenser that contains a radio signal generated by an Arduino microcontroller. Some features that it has are 2 pedals, a treat dispenser, lights, special sensors that detect pressure, and a remote control. The apparatus is also portable and has a set of codes that varies within the schedules of the device. A schedule reinforcement will be used, specifically a concurrent schedule. A schedule reinforcement is used in the regulation of the reinforcer to follow behavior. The prototype uses an interval and invariable schedule. An interval schedule requires a set amount of time to pass before receiving a reinforced response. It is divided into a fixed interval and a variable interval. During a fixed interval schedule, the reinforcement is provided after a set interval time. During a variable interval schedule, the reinforcement is provided after a random interval of time. A ratio schedule requires a set of responses to occur before receiving a reinforced response. It is divided into a fixed and variable ratio schedule. During a fixed ratio schedule, the reinforcement is provided after a set number of responses. During a variable ratio schedule, reinforcement is provided after a random number of responses. A concurrent schedule reinforcement is the use of 2 or more reinforcement schedules that occur simultaneously. For example, the left pedal of the prototype will be consisted of an fixed interval schedule, while the right pedal will be used to be a variable interval schedule. We will be using an ABC design, and A will be to measure of the baseline, B will be the use of a fixed interval schedule, C will be the use of a fixed ratio schedule, and D will be the use of both schedules occurring simultaneously. The first phase of the experiment was magazine training. This allowed the subject to become familiarized with the feeder mechanism of the prototype. The first phase is divided into 2 stages that will allow to shape the subject to the treat dispenser. The first stage was the acclimation of the subject to eat the treats out of the magazine of the dispenser. By activating the food dispenser with a remote control or through the prototype itself, the subject learned that the feeder dispenses treats. The goal of this stage was to get the subject comfortable with the prototype and eating some of its treats. The second stage consisted of acclimating the subject to the hopper in response to the sounds it makes. The goal of the stage was to teach the subject an association between hearing the sounds of the hopper and hearing food pellets. So here's a video of the dog eating the treats. The first phase is now complete. The second phase of the experiment will consist of engaging the subject within the apparatus. The left pedal will be on a fixed ratio schedule and the right pedal will be on a fixed interval schedule. We will first shape the target of the behavior of hitting the left pedal on the device. We will then shape the target behavior of hitting the right pedal on the device. And so our question is, can the subject successfully work on both pedals and maximize the number of treats they will receive? The ultimate goal is to have an apparatus that can work in a house or a shelter that will provide environmental enrichment. The best way to combat stress and prevent abnormal behaviors is through the use of environmental enrichment. The device incorporates both cognitive and physical activity. The action of hitting or pressing the pedals will provide some sort of physical stimulation, and the different schedules will engage cognitive stimulation. The combination of both types of stimulation has the potential to decrease behavioral problems that come with the lack of stimulation, absence of personal owners, or frustration due to being in enclosed space. Here are my references, and thank you for your time.